Hey there, it's Doug Katz from the Nutstack and Nuts National Unity through Sanity, and boy, do we need it now. I haven't done a video in a while, and I apologize for that. Things got really crazy with my business, and then it was spring break and the kids were home. But if you haven't watched my other videos, I'm not going to take a lot of time in this one explaining why I'm doing these particular ones. But this is the last one in my preparation series about how to prepare when the poop is hitting the fan. And I think it's hitting the fan. The fan just is not on high. And this is the last video that I had committed to doing on water. So it's important. And if you're wondering the why, again, look back at the other videos and some of the things I've done and on some of the things I've written. But I can tell you this, when my mom is posting things about Curtis Yarvin, and that's who I've been talking about, you can bet that it's probably grown in awareness and likelihood of actually what is going on, which I do believe it is. So I'm going to be doing another video on that soon after this, but let's talk water. We've done food security, communications, medical, shelter, all that kind of stuff. Let's talk water. Because you can't live without it, but I'm doing it last. Again, watch the other videos. It'll explain why. But you need fresh water to live, period, end of story. Everybody knows that. And it's the thing you can live the least amount of time without. So you got to think about it. That's partly why I'm doing it last, because it's so important. And there is a lot of ways you can do it. Now, this video is also going to lack a ton of specificity, and I'm going to reference things from other videos, again, why I'm doing it last. So here's the deal. You've got clean water that you can access. You've got not clean water that you can access. The first thing that you have to figure out is where you can access water. Because if there's no water, it doesn't matter if it's good to drink or not. You have no water. So where you are will determine that. And, where I live, I'm near a stream and a pond, and I live in a house. I can collect water that way. I have a well and a generator. I'm pretty well set up. Don't mean the pun there. But I have ways to collect water beyond the normal ways. Let's say you live in a city and you're on city water and that kind of stuff. But your situation, I'm in an area that gets a decent amount of precipitation, snow in the winter, rain in the summer, but we have dry spells and all that. So, but you have to figure out what works in your area. Because if you're in an arid area, let's say Arizona, Las Vegas or something, things could get bad pretty damn quick. And you need to think about this. So one thing I would do, and I'm using ChatGPT a lot more than or any AI, whatever your favorite one is, but put in all of the information about where you live and have it create a prompt for where you live, and then put it back in to tell you the best way to find or access water in your area. And it will give you a pretty good method of doing so. So that would be my recommendation for number one, how do you access water? Number two, is it drinkable or not drinkable? You got to make sure you know. If you don't know, assume it's not. Again, there's things that you can access out there. I am a big fan of Army manuals. There are other good manuals, but Army manuals are free, and there's not a field craft or situation like this that they haven't thought of. So accessing one of those, getting one of those in your personal library to look at how to tell if an area would more likely have potable water, like a moving stream, for instance, good thing to do. So if you're not sure if it's potable, and potable means drinkable for those who don't know that. We've gotten a lot of laughs over those. But use something like that. But then if you're assuming it's not drinkable or potable and you, or if it is not, filtering is a good way to have drinkable water. And they sell a lot of things. I always recommend, first and foremost, personal filter, something that you can pack and take with you if you've got to bug out for some reason. Everybody in the family should have one, and you should know how much water before you have to replace it. You got to have replacements, all those kind of things. But you can also use that in your home situation. You can stock extra filters, best way to go. Then you can also have, as a secondary filter system, a larger system, I don't know, Brita, or even a larger system than that. If you're on city water and there's no water, it doesn't matter if you have like a RO system, you have no water to put through it. So Figure out what filter system works best for you with your price range and all the resources you have available. But again, personal filter is a definite need. Now, as I had said, with things like understanding which water is drinkable, many manuals also have really, really good field expedient or field craft type filtering systems with 5-gallon buckets and sand and charcoal, or a still that you can use to boil water and the vapor then is drinkable. Speaking of which, if you don't have a filter and you got to drink it somehow, boil, boil, boil. It's going to kill a lot of what's in there. It might not get out particulates and things like that, but you're not going to get parasites and all that kind of nasty stuff. So you probably should be boiling it anyhow if you don't know for sure. But the field expedient ones are pretty cool, not really expensive. And what you can do is stock all the components and then assemble them when you need to. I have like a really, really basic still that I have just to make water, not any other kind of thing, but it's a good method. And some of those are even solar. So if you've got the space, having a couple of those is a good thing to do, which as you scale it, now you have community resilience, because some people might not have the resources. Maybe theirs were damaged and all that. And you better make sure that your neighbors and your friends and everybody are not dying of thirst, right? That's just the decent thing to do. So that's my best recommendation on water. Again, access, you got to have it to be able to drink it. Purification and filtering, you got to make sure it doesn't make you sick. Knowledge, start building that reference library, but there's some really good things on that. And community, start to scale it. And don't forget the ChatGPT tip I gave. So this one went a little bit longer, but it's hugely important. And if you haven't thought about this, the way I am approaching this preparatory thing now when people ask me about it is, if you as the head of household, the mother, the father, whoever the head of household is comfortable looking at the people who depend on you and answering, it's just because you didn't prepare when the shit is hitting the fan already, then you are negligent in your duties. So you better start thinking about it, because that's your job. So I'm getting off my soapbox now, but thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate the support. If you are interested in supporting me, you can subscribe or go to the Nutstack store. I have some pretty cool things, I think, there. And you can support me that way. I take a very little amount on top of what it costs to create. So again, thank you very much. Don't forget nuts, national unity through sanity. Thanks so much.